Okay. So, thank you everyone for joining in. This is actually the first podcast that I'm doing in a series where I've been following folks on Instagram, and I've just been really captivated by the content that they're putting out there and whatnot. And so I want to invite folks on here to just ask them some questions, get their take on like what they've been doing, and hopefully inspire some like goodness in the world around us. So for my very first guest, I have Carly Campetti, coach of the stars one day. And, you know, I've known Carly for a little while, almost 2 years now. We're a
Has
little,
it been that long?
we worked together a little while ago, and both in like the youth serving kind of space. And Carly's energy is amazing and infectious. And she started before me and just welcomed me in and just brought me into this space and has been such a source of like just comfort and mentorship in the spaces that I've been working in, and just kind of taking me along for the ride with her. I've been watching her grow as a coach on Instagram and on LinkedIn and the stuff that she's sharing. And I'm really inspired by what she's putting out there. And I hope after this you will be too. So, yeah, Carly, I have some questions I'd like to ask you. Um, this is a free flowing conversation. So please, like, insert whatever. If I'm not at, like, you want to put more in there, whatever you want to do.
Okay, sounds great.
Afterward, we'll be happy to take some questions and we'll just kind of go from there and just feel it out. Sound good?
Sounds great. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for coming. So, Carly, first up, tell me what exactly you've been doing these last 6 months.
That is a loaded question. Oh my gosh, what haven't I been doing the last 6 months? Well, I guess let me take a step back to even farther back in May when I actually opened my business. I was like really excited about opening a coaching practice, and I really was thinking about like, who do I want to serve? Who do I want to be my clients? What kinds of people do I want to attract and work with on a daily basis? And this was kind of a question that I had like rolling around in my head at all times. And I didn't want to make too many moves too quickly because I wanted it to be an intentional kind of process. There are thousands and thousands of coaches out there. And so a lot of times, one of the things that came up is like, what makes me different? What makes me different than any other coach out there? And that's a hard question to answer. And so I think I just kind of like came to this breaking point of like, I need to stop all production on my website. I need to stop everything and just chill out to try and figure out the answer to this question, which was kind of like a surprise because I was like really excited to get going, and I thought that May was going to be the right time. And, registering for a business isn't something that happens every day. So I thought it would be easier than it was. But once I came to that place of like, all right, let me just step back and chill for a second. I don't know even how, but I started thinking about this guy that I was following on Instagram named Federico Paz. And I had been following him for since the previous October. And like everything he said on Instagram was something that resonated with me. Whatever you're drinking looks amazing. I don't know what that is, but I should have had something that looks that fun.
It's San Pellegrino, their Chow Cherry line. It has just a hint of cherry in their sparkling water. Just a little free advertisement for them.
I love that you're drinking it from a straw too. It's great. So Federico Paz was one of these people that I had been following constantly on Instagram, and everything that he said resonated with me. And as soon as I started following him, I was like, I know that I want this person to coach me. But it was just never the right moment. It was never just the right time. I didn't feel like I wanted to invest in that. I already had a coach. So it was just kind of like this person that I knew I wanted to coach me eventually. And so when I reached this point of like, I don't know what to do and I don't know who can help me, it was like Federico Paz. I hadn't liked a single one of his videos. I didn't comment on a single one of his videos. He didn't know me from Adam, he had no reason to know me. And yet that was the point that I said, okay, let me contact him. So I did. And I just said, like, hey, what would the process look like if I were to be coached by you? And to my surprise, within like 2 minutes of me sending him this message on Instagram, he sent me an audio message back. And like, I kind of felt like it was a celebrity moment because it was somebody who I had followed so many days in a row and he posts all day long. And here he was like talking to me. And so at that moment, I knew that, what I was doing was going to be the right thing. Well, so then he started becoming my coach. Like June 9th is when I paid him and signed up to work with him for the first 3 months. And that is when my life changed. So that is the 6 month mark from now when we're recording this podcast. Because once I signed on to work with him, it was like, all right, well, if you want to be coached by me, then you also need to understand that we create our reality. It's something that I've always believed. It's something that I've studied. It's something that I've practiced, but it's not something that I have been super disciplined about myself. And so from then on, like from June 9th on, I started waking up at 5 in the morning, going to the gym immediately when I woke up. And it just became this process of like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this thing. I don't want to get out of bed and I'm doing it anyways. And so I started creating discipline from that moment of being able to change my life. And after 6 days, I was ready to quit. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I am paying this guy to be my coach, and he is literally telling us all we need to be at the gym at 5 in the morning. And I was just like, what did I do? This is a mistake. Like, can I have my money back? Can we rewind the clock? And I had a friend visiting at the time, and I was complaining to her. And I was just like, telling her, this is so hard. This is day 6 that I've gone to the gym, and it's so much work, and my body hurts everywhere. And I can't believe I'm doing this. And then I thought, wait a second. It's not that he's telling me to do something that's against my health and well-being. He's actually telling me something that I know is good for me. I it's not that I'd never exercised. I probably went, 3 times a week to the gym, but the gap between 3 times and 7 times is a lot. And so it was like once I kind of like understood what that hurdle was in my mind of like, he's not telling me to go eat a giant cake every morning at 5 in the morning. Like he's just saying, go to the gym. Then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'm just being a little bit of a baby about this. And that's where things changed because once I could accept that, then is when I started to get into this groove of like, okay, it's 5 a.m. and now I'm out the door to go to the gym. Um, that's that is a semi-long answer to your question of like what changed 6 months ago, but that was really just the beginning too. But I'm going to stop to see if you have another question before I continue.
No, no, that was great. And you're better than me. 5 a.m. I can be up, but I'm hitting snooze about 5 more times and dragging myself out to find the nearest caffeine source. Um,
There.
so I want to back up just a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about like why coaching at all? Like why are you doing this coaching thing? Like what is going on here? And a little bit about the training that you went through to become a coach.
Sure. Um, the training to become a coach, I didn't know this at the time that I signed up for it, but I was living in Argentina and I just all of a sudden had a bunch of tabs open on my computer. I literally do not know, and I wish I could like have a magic mirror like Beauty and the Beast to go back in time and look at why I Googled this in particular. But I just started Googling coaching, I think, and I found a coaching school that was a 9 minute walk from my house in Argentina. And I was on a sabbatical. I was really stressed out from work, totally burnt out. And so I was like, even though I was on sabbatical, I was still trying to better myself and thinking like, how can I be a better director when I go back? And so I started with this intro to coaching course. And when I went there, it was like 2 hours of information of everything that I just believed already of like we create the reality that we want. And so as soon as I went to that first class, I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. And then by the second or third class, even though it was just an 11-week intro program, I knew I wanted to do the full 2 year actual course to become a coach. And so I finagled it with my job and my boss at the time to be able to do that. And they were supportive of me doing it because I was leading a team and it was, something that was going to make me a better director. So it just kind of fell in my lap, I would say, in the beginning. But then once I started studying it, it was like, oh, this is what I'm meant to do. I didn't know either that, like, now that I talk to coaches in the US and I'm part of the International Coaching Federation, most people who become a coach here do a 60-hour program. Like, that's what they do. And then they have to coach 100 hours and take an exam to become certified. My program, the education part of it itself, was 343 hours, then 100 hours of coaching, then the exam. So they like mentioned at the time, like, hey, this program's a little bit more rigorous than most, but I didn't fully comprehend all of the work that was going to need to be put into it until I was done with it, or like the last month. I was like, okay, now I understand. But I think it was because of that training that I feel so comfortable with coaching, and I felt so comfortable from the get-go because it was just easy. It was like, oh, they're preparing us in a way that it's like a foolproof, fail-proof way of us being able to go out in the world and coach literally anyone. And now my problem is actually not coaching people. I probably have tried to coach you. I don't. Yeah, see, and so then I have to like ask people, do you want me to be your friend or do you want me to be your coach right now? Because it teaches you an entirely different way to listen to people, like actively, acutely listen to what they're saying so that you can ask them the right questions to help them figure out their own answers. And there was just something about that that I really liked because nobody likes being told what to do, and everybody likes figuring it out by themselves. So that's really what coaching is. And I think, like, because I'm a curious person, because I love talking about people and how they're feeling and how they're doing, like, it was just a natural fit for me. So that's how I actually landed in it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, so having gone through like this rigorous training and having been coached yourself and going through all these processes, like how has all this changed your life?
Well, so I continued with the 5 a.m. Wake up call, but it actually progressed even further to me meditating at 5 a.m. instead of going to the gym at 5 a.m. That's a shift that my coach made for himself, and it just makes a lot more sense because when you wake up, if you think about it, you're in between this weird state of like reality and what's real, are you still dreaming, are you still half asleep? And so meditation, the way that it works, it's just so much easier to grasp it if you're just coming out of sleep or if you're going to sleep. Those two times are really the best times to meditate because our brains are already in relaxation mode. And so I shifted from that. And that was also like a hard shift for me because I really gotten the rhythm of going to the gym at 5. But then once he kind of was encouraging us, hey, like really try to start with meditation, I shifted to that. And now I don't think I could ever go back the other way. Like it's something that I didn't know that I would need so much in the morning, but it completely sets the tone for the entire rest of my day. And sometimes I'm like in and out of sleep because I wake up at 5 and I do this for 2 to 3 hours. And sometimes I wake up at 4 or 3:30. Like it just depends. Like my body is just kind of used to, I like your faces. Yes, I know it's early, but like once you start waking up at the same time every day, your body just gets used to it and then does it automatically. So it's not like I'm even trying, when I roll over and my eyes are open at 3:37 in the morning, it's like, okay, grab the headphones, press play on Spotify to listen to the music that I always listen to and go, it's go time. And then I could be there for another 2 hours and maybe I fall back asleep and maybe I come out of it. But the point of the meditation part of it is like really just focusing on the presence of what your being is doing at that time, what your body's doing at that time. And so it's pretty easy. Like I think it's the easiest time for somebody to learn how to meditate is right when they're coming out of this sleepy state because it's already primed for you to be able to relax your body in that way. So my life has changed in the sense that a lot of weird things happen during meditation for me. Like sometimes I have visions of things that happen the next day or later. Like this is going to sound weird. I should probably preface this because this is not like normal conversation now. But when you get your brain to relax that much, then it's like it puts it into this state of just you being open to whatever energy is going to be putting your way. So sometimes I have visions of people, sometimes I see shapes or colors, sometimes I see actual situations, or I like have a almost like a vision of how I'm going to be with somebody later in the day or later in the week, or how I'm going to act when I'm giving a presentation or maybe this podcast. Or sometimes ideas come to me like, an agenda for a team group coaching call. My agendas for most anything come from meditation. It's not something I think about. I don't like sit here in the middle of the day thinking like, what am I going to talk to Martine about? It really just comes with the meditative state that I'm in, that it's like, oh, this is what I want to transmit, and this is how I'm going to be, and this is the kind of energy that I'm going to bring. So when your day starts with that, when your day starts with that intentional space of like, this is how I'm going to be, then your chances are a lot more likely that that is how you're going to be.
Mm,
Whereas before, I was just waking up, like any other person, I was just waking up and going about my day, not thinking about how I wanted to be. And so it was just haphazard. Whatever came out, came out. Whatever reactions I had happened. But now it's like, it almost like slows everything down into slow motion of, no, we're going to start the day on the right foot. And for me now, that is 1,000% meditation.
that's awesome. And you're creating like starting off with intentionality right from the gate.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. As you're talking, I'm like, I don't know how I would start the meditation without falling back asleep. But I think that's that practice that you're talking about and getting in the rhythm. Um,
And it's okay if you do, you know? Like
mm,
there's lots of like theories on meditation, and my theory is that there's no right way to do it. And even though I've been doing it every day for 6 months times say 2 hours a day, I'm no expert. Like this morning I was very like antsy. I
mhm.
thought I was, but this is the weird part is like sometimes you think, oh man, like I'm not getting into this relaxed state that I normally would. And then I looked at my clock and an hour and a half had gone by. So I don't exactly know like what happened during that hour and a half, but I think the point is just to not judge, not like get mad at yourself or not get frustrated of like, why isn't this working? And like it is working. No matter if you are antsy, then it's still okay because you're taking the time and you're not just like getting on Instagram and like getting attacked by all the news that is on your phone and stuff like that. You're actively shutting that out so that you can just still be kind of present with yourself for a few hours.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. So my next question is, can you tell me about like what's been the most surprising part about this whole journey for you?
Um, hmm. The most surprising part, I think it probably is that I don't focus on the results, but I'm getting results. Like I don't meditate in order to feel relaxed. I meditate to meditate. I meditate just because I want to give my body a break, but the result is that I feel relaxed. Or I go to bed at 10 o'clock. I'm not like focused on, okay, like I need to get this thing out of this because I go to bed at 10 o'clock. But the result is I am never tired. I feel great every day. I have tons of energy. Um, or like with the gym, going every day to the gym has an impact on my physical appearance. Like I haven't gone to the gym. Most of the times I've gone to the gym like mad about going to the gym. Like it's not been like, yay, can't wait. Let me just up how much weight I'm doing when I'm doing weights there. It's like, no, it still takes effort. And I would say that's kind of like still the area for me that sometimes I have to fight with, fight the voices in my head. But it doesn't matter because the consistency then leads to the results. And so there have been changes in my strength, in my stamina, in my confidence, in my ability to lift weights. Like, and then losing weight also has happened. And that's just not something I've focused on. So I think like so many times people focus on the results. They say, I want to do X thing. And that's like what they've got in their head at all times of like, I need to get this thing. But they're not thinking about, hey, if I just was consistent with these small things that I did every day, I would probably get there. Maybe not in the time frame that I want exactly, but I would probably get there. And I think that that's like the major mistake because then when people get hyper focused and obsessed with the results, it's going to be a lot harder to enjoy the process. Whereas I've focused on the process and I've focused on having fun and posting about it all the time, as you've seen on Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. Like I'm posting constantly about what I'm going through. It's almost like a daily journal, daily diary of like, hey, here's these little small steps that I'm taking. And then every so often it's like, oh, shoot, here's the result. It just kind of creeps up on you, but it's not, it's more just like trying to enjoy my life to the fullest and doing that in a very small way by noticing these things on a daily basis is for me what has surprised me the most because it's made the most difference.
Awesome. Yeah, no, the destination versus the journey, and you're definitely part of the,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. So thinking about, the coaching, the meditation, the daily habits you're instilling, what would you say is like the biggest accomplishment that you've gotten from all this?
Um, Honestly, I would say the fact that I have a routine now. I think I never knew how helpful it would be to be able to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time and what benefits that has on my life. Like I was just saying to somebody the other day, like I just don't yawn, and it's like, who says that? Who says that they're not tired? Everyone loves to complain about how tired they are, but it's like, no, if you treat your body in the right way, and by the right way, I mean by having a routine, then it gives back to you in these ways that are amazing. And so the greatest accomplishment I would say is even though I don't do the same things always at the same time, the two things that are like almost 100% consistent at this point are going lights out at 10 o'clock and then wake up call at 5 a.m.
Mm,
So then everything in between there, like in the middle of my day after meditation, can be kind of moved around. Like I know I'm going to find time to read. I know I'm going to find time to write or listen to an audiobook or to talk with ChatGPT about something that I'm like pondering about. And I know I'm going to go to the gym. And so those things kind of are just like puzzle pieces that just move around. And that's okay for my personality type. I know there are other people who like the consistency of like, okay, I'm going to meditate from 5 to 7, then I'm going to get up and have breakfast, then I'm going to go to the gym from 8 to 9. And then, so every person I think has to come up with what works for them. What I've seen for me is that it's okay if I move stuff around because I still have it on the to-do list. It's like this stuff is so important to me now because it is what allows me to be there for my clients in the way that I want to be there for them. If I wasn't spending every day at the gym, sometimes multiple times a day, then I wouldn't be as able to listen to people. I wouldn't be able to empathize as much with people. I wouldn't be able to kind of like have my own experience that backs up like, hey, this is actually what really can work. And so people don't see that part of my process. Like they're seeing me on a 30-minute networking call, but they're not maybe thinking about, oh, what is everything that she's doing so that she can be like the best coach in the entire world right now for me. And it's all of these things. So I look at it as part of my job. It's not just like I'm doing it for fun. And I think anybody could say that, whether they were a veterinarian or whether they were a mailman or whether they were a restaurant worker, whatever the case is, like if it becomes part of you, part of your personality and your identity, then it then becomes easier to kind of show up how you want to show up with other people and react in the way that you actually want to react as opposed to being reactive.
mm-hmm. Okay. I when you mentioned the thing about yawning, immediately I wanted to yawn, and I was like, oh no, it's happening.
You can yawn, but start going to bed at 10 and then see what happens.
I'm not there yet. Um, What do you wish people knew but don't?
Um, I wish people knew how beneficial it was to do group coaching. It's something like, I mean, I've had a coach before, I had one for 4 years before I started with Federico. And now with Fede, I'm in a group coaching program. So I have like one-on-one sessions with him. And then I also have the group. The energy that gets created by a group coaching program is inexplicable because you have everybody who is in their own process, going through their own things, but yet they're able to talk with each other, to like share ideas, to share their daily progress, to be able to uplift other people in the group, to be able to like root for each other and notice the small things and be able to be like confident and be able to talk about things not from a place of ego, but to say like, hey, this is the result that I'm getting because I'm meditating every day or because I am going to the gym every day. So it's like this weird place that we all can get together once a week and like have that conversation and know that nobody's going to be looking at us weirdly because we're talking about how much time we spent at the gym this week. It's like, it's this reality of, hey, we're all in this together and we're on completely different like planes. We're not in the same process at all. But yet we have kind of this similar idea of like, we're creating something with our own energy. And so to have that group support in addition to the coach is is awesome. So that's why I'm starting a group coaching program in January for individuals because I'm already doing it with companies and the results are amazing and the cohesiveness that the teams feel and the connection and all of that like it works in a company setting. That's 100% sure and I've got data now to back that up from surveys that I've done with people. But I've had people ask like can't you just do a program for random individuals that can do the same thing? So that's why I lowered the prices and am also starting that in January because I think once people join in that group, it'll keep growing and it'll grow into this community of, hey, we are all on our own, like you said, journey, and we're trying to enjoy that journey. We're not focusing on the destination. That's not the point. But once we just look at the journey and start to look around, we start to see how beautiful life is. And we start to really appreciate the small things and say, this is amazing that I'm here in this place called planet Earth and I've got 100 years, give or take, to be who I want to be. So how do I want to be and who do I want to be and what support can I have for that? So I'm very excited about that starting in particular because yeah, I think like to answer your question, people just unless they've done it, I think that people don't know how great it actually can be with other people who are in it with you.
Awesome. And with someone who has never done coaching, would you steer them towards doing group coaching to start with?
That's I would say very dependent on whatever they're dealing with. I would say somebody who is wanting more individualized support should definitely have one-on-one support if they can, in addition to group coaching. I mean, you get two different things. They're kind of like two different animals. Um, like people who have very targeted goals are the people who I tend to work with for the individual coaching, especially senior leaders that are going to have an influence on their whole team. That's the idea behind, especially why senior leaders often get coaches because they know that they're having a huge impact on everybody else. Um, with the group thing, I honestly think anybody can do it. And it could be maybe a fine way just to get you introduced to it, but I don't know. It's kind of half a dozen of one, six of the other in terms of what just works for that person. I think they're both great.
And can you, for those who may not understand it, what's like the difference between get having a coach versus a therapist versus a mentor?
Oh, good question.
Mm.
This is something that I go over with everybody on our first call because people often conflate coaching and therapy. I say it over and over. I'm not a therapist. I'm not trained in anything mental health whatsoever. So when people, if they come to me about anxiety or depression or addiction issues or anything like that, that's not something that a coach would deal with. Coaches really deal with today forward. This is the difference. And so therapists, you're oftentimes talking about your past. You're oftentimes talking about why you are the way you are. You're talking about past hurts or past traumas that you've had, all very important things, like 1000% support therapy. I went to therapy for 20 some odd years. Love therapy. Can't say enough good about therapy. Coaching is from today forward. So it's really like a lot of times people will have a specific kind of goal they want to move closer to, and they just want an accountability buddy for it. That's really what it is. Like if you think about having a personal trainer at the gym, people who have personal trainers show up to the gym at that time every week, Tuesday at 6 o'clock, because they know that their trainer is going to be there and they know that their trainer is going to keep them accountable for whatever that thing is that they're working on at the gym. It's the same way for coaching one-on-one is really that coach is there to just be like, hey, how did it go the last week? And what do you need to tweak? What do you want to work towards this week? So it's this like neutral, unbiased place that we're again trained in to not judge or anything like that, where we can just accompany. That's really what it is. I don't even consider myself to be helping anybody. Like I ask questions to them which then they help themselves. So like it could be that I have the questions, but they're the ones who are coming up with the answer or the action step for what they want to do next. And only they have that answer. I don't have that answer. They don't want my answer. They want
Mhm.
their own answer. So, and then a mentor is really somebody who talks kind of more at you to explain what they have learned. And I think that like with my group coaching program, there could be some mentorship that I end up doing because there is a lot that I have learned over the last many years of my life. And so sometimes, like if there, it could be like a class that's being given on, meditation or routine or whatever the case is. And so that would be a better example of somebody who's kind of mentoring you. But a mentor isn't really invested in keeping you accountable, coming up with action steps, things like that. Like a mentor is kind of, in my mind, really like somebody you look up to because they've already done the thing that you want to do, and you're
Mhm.
just trying to kind of absorb some of their information. But great question.
Yeah, thank you. I think that often gets confusing for folks and they're not exactly
Yeah.
sure what coaching specifically is. So thank you for breaking that down. And so what's the plan, moving forward? You talked about your group coaching thing you're starting in January. Like what else? What do you got? 2026, what's happening with Carly's coaching land?
I think I need to sit down and think about it because I just went through I haven't posted this video yet, but I did make a video that I just went through my 18 New Year's resolutions from 2025. This is like before I started this coaching program with Fede, but I went through those and I completed 17 of the 18. I mean, and I have like way more that I did that aren't on the list that I didn't know I was going to be doing. So I think that 2025 was definitely like a solid year in terms of reaching my goals. And so I think I'm going to do the same thing for this year, but I already know what those goals are. And the goal is kind of what I answered about what am I most excited about accomplishing is just like sticking to the routine. Because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, over time, it has gotten easier. It has gotten more of a priority. Like last night, I was at a neighbor party and I got there at like 6 and at 8 o'clock, I was saying goodbye to everybody, and I started walking home back to my house. And my neighbor texted me. She was like, "Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to get ready for bed." So I stayed 2 hours. I did my part, and I turned around and came home. And it's like your priorities change once you have a routine. It's like I can still fit in the fun things, but I'm going to limit it if I know it's going to interfere with whatever my routine is. And so I think I just need to practice over and over and over again because that is what makes it easier. The times that I feel off are the times that my routine gets out of whack. Actually, I'll give you this example too from that same party. It was a Trader Joe's appetizer themed party.
Awesome.
Great idea. Great idea in theory. However, for somebody like me who doesn't eat Trader Joe's appetizers on the regular and who really eats clean most of the time, I dabbled in all of these appetizers and I did not sleep well last night at all. I was tossing and turning. And so it's really interesting to see that I'm like basically doing an experiment with my own body of like, hey, what happens when you've been eating clean, eating clean, and all of a sudden, boom, Trader Joe's appetizers party. Well, this is what happens. I slept terribly, and I usually sleep like a complete baby until the 5 a.m. wake up call goes off. So it's like a vessel of my own scientific experiment. I don't even need science to back this up because I'm seeing it for myself. I know how I slept last night, and I know what I ate. And so then, because now I have that information, then maybe the next time I'm at a party like that, I'm going to make different choices, or I'm going to plan differently so that I am not, tempted with things that aren't going to do me any good. Because then, then I'm waking up today going to work out this morning, and I don't have the same amount of energy that I usually do because my body's still trying to process the crap that I ate last night. So it's just like this like constant kind of cycle that is it's got built-in mechanisms to make me feel better. And if I stick to it, then I feel great. If I don't stick to it, then I can already see like the things that happen even after one night. So, yeah, I would say continuing to practice because I think that it does take a ton of discipline, but that discipline doesn't just help me with the routine. It also helps me in every other aspect of my life. Like if I can do this, if I can still go and get up this morning, even though I barely slept last night, then I can do anything. If I can still go to I actually worked out twice already today. What time is it? It's 1:37. I already worked out, I did meditation for 2 hours. I worked out with a friend at home. Then I went to the gym. Then I did weights at the gym after I did a yoga class. So like I'm good, and it's only 1:38. Like I've got the whole rest of the day that I can do things. So it just like it creates more time and space in my day. As odd as it seems, like to have this routine, it's like you can just plug everything else that you want to do into all the holes in between the essentials that I'm making time for every day. And that is what's life changing because then you say, well, I have time for anything and everything that I want to do. And then things just get done faster because I'm so focused, I'm so clear headed on what I want to be doing in those other spaces because that's the only time I've got to do those things. So
Yeah,
I don't procrastinate. If there's something if there's a phone call I need to make or an email I need to write, boom, you better believe I'm doing it like right then because that's the time that I have to do it. I'm going to the gym later, so I got to get it done right now. So it is interesting also that it just really kind of funnels down all this other extra noise that I could have in my life and streamlines me to be focusing on the things that actually really truly matter. So I think I'm more efficient now than I ever have been.
that's awesome. Good for you. And
Thanks.
I gotta ask, I know it kind of rocked your schedule a little bit, but which one of the Trader Joe's appetizers were your favorite?
Oh my God, great question. I think the jalapeno popper that really surprised me. It was very spicy.
Mm.
And I didn't know what it was before I ate it, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but it's very spicy, and I really like it.
So, is there anything else that you want to share before you wrap up?
Um, well, I would say that I truly now that I'm coaching people and have been able to work with them both one-on-one and in a group setting, I know it sounds weird coming from me because it'll sound like I'm biased because I'm a coach, but it is amazing to see the transformation that people have. It's amazing to get the text from people who are doing the thing that they said they wanted to do in our first meeting that we had with each other. And it's amazing to see like people get over their fears and just build the confidence and be able to get closer to the life that they want to be living because
Mhm.
they're taking different actions. They're not doing the same thing over and over because of coaching. Like that's the magic of it is once you have the accountability for it, then it just makes the decision part easier. And then the discipline is what the hard part is. And so having somebody with you or a group with you to help you get closer to that thing, I think it's just like from my perspective, it's just been the most amazing thing to watch people. And I mean, I have my own experience from having coaches myself, and I know how I feel personally, just so grateful for my coaches and all that they have helped me with. But I think now being a coach myself, it's just like who would not want this for their life? Like it is just the best environment. And I think like life is hard enough and we all need all the support we can get. So if coaches can be that kind of active presence and active listener for people, people don't get that elsewhere. You know, like that's why you pay for it is because they don't get it elsewhere. Even your best friends don't listen to you like a coach will. Your best friend will be the first to tell you, oh, 5 a.m., man, that's like really early. Are you sure you want to keep doing that? And so, you know, it's from a place of love, but it's also not what you need. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like if you're making the decision that you want to get up at 5, you want somebody who's going to be like, cool, awesome. What time are like, how are you setting your alarm? And how did that work for you this week? So it's just very different. From any other kind of relationships that I've had in my life that I just I don't know, as a coachee, as a person being coached, I feel just so indebted to the process that I've gone through. And then now I'm just so excited for what's to come with all the people that I get to work with and just like seeing their own transformation. So yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. And really,
Hey.
you're your own like walking testimonial because 17 out of 18 New Year's resolutions completed. I mean, I don't think I've literally ever heard that from anybody ever. So that is incredible. So if you,
Thank you.
I get things done, so I can help you get things done. So anyone that works with you, they're gonna succeed, Carly. So this has been an absolute pleasure hearing your journey and your story,
Thank you.
getting your nuggets of wisdom. So, for those listening, thank you very much. If you have any questions,